Before we start, I want you to picture this. Two men, two different decades, two different states. But the same outcome: elite police units scrambling through unforgiving bushland, helicopters chopping through dense tree canopies, officers injured or dead, entire regions locked down, and an entire country asking the same aching question: how does one man disappear into the Australian bush and stay hidden? Today, we're diving into the similarities and the sharp differences between the manhunt for Malcolm Naden and the ongoing search for Dezi Freeman. And to guide us through it, we're looking at insights from someone who actually lived this nightmare: former NS Dulles Police Deputy Commissioner Carlene York, the woman who led the historic operation that finally captured Naden after years on the run. Welcome back to Behind the Crime Scene. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. It helps us grow, helps us stay independent, and ensures you never miss any updates on the Freeman case or other ongoing investigations across Australia. Let's get into it. Carlene York knows the pressure, chaos, and emotional weight of a long-running bushland manhunt better than almost anyone alive. Back in 2012, she oversaw one of the most complex fugitive operations in Australian history, ending the 7-year run of double murderer Malcolm Naden. So when York first saw the early images of the Freeman incident, the dense bush, the rugged terrain, the police tape winding through the ferns, she said it immediately transported her back to the Naden search. Not because the details are identical, but because the environment is. The terrain, the canopy cover, the isolation, the sheer difficulty of trying to find anyone out there, let alone someone who is heavily armed and actively avoiding capture. The first critical hours. York explained that in the opening hours of a bushland manhunt, one thing matters more than anything else: direction. Officers need to establish where the fugitive went, what tracks they might be using, what paths are accessible, and how large the search perimeter needs to be. In both the Naden and Freeman cases, the manhunt began after gunfire. Naden shot a police officer, and Freeman allegedly shot multiple officers, killing 2. Both incidents instantly escalated their status to high-risk operations. But the crucial difference is the starting point. Naden had spent nearly 7 years perfecting his hiding places. Freeman fled into an environment he knows, but he hasn't built an underground existence within it the way Naden did. Still, York emphasized something important. Even a fugitive with only local bush knowledge can stay hidden for an incredibly long time. The bush gives you natural cover. It muffles sound. It confuses footprints, and a single person can slip between trees long before officers on foot or air support can pinpoint them. Why? Hundreds of officers doesn't guarantee success. York offered a brutally simple explanation. Helicopters can't see through the trees. From above, the canopy looks like a solid green roof. Even with thermal imaging, dense Australian bushland scatters heat signatures, making it difficult to differentiate a person from sun-warmed rocks, logs, or animals. And the moment helicopters approach, the offender hears them, long before they're close enough to spot anything. Noise becomes a warning system. York said this was exactly the case during the Naden search. The aerial units were vital for mapping terrain and coordinating movements, but not particularly effective for locating the suspect himself. The same limitation applies to Freeman. Hundreds of officers, drones, K9 units, mounted teams, specialist trackers, all crucial, but none of them guarantee visibility in a forest thick enough to swallow a man whole. The danger factor. Another parallel between Naden and Freeman is the psychological challenge officers face when entering the bush, knowing 2 things. The suspect is armed, and the suspect has already shown a willingness to shoot police. York stressed how different that is from a standard bush search, where the goal is to rescue someone who wants to be found. Those people signal for help. They shout, wave, or move towards search crews. A fugitive does the opposite. They hide, they stay silent, they use the terrain against their pursuers. York said the mental load on officers is enormous. Every rustle of leaves, every snapped twig, every blind corner becomes a potential ambush, and both cases carried that same tension. The radio issue and why police share almost nothing publicly. During the interview, York addressed criticism that police aren't giving the public enough information. She explained the reason is simple. The suspect might be listening. Even if Freeman doesn't possess a police radio, something the media has speculated but not confirmed, he could easily have a cheap transistor radio, a scanner, or access to online broadcasts. York's point was clear. If police reveal their strategies publicly, they're not just informing the community, they're alerting the fugitive. That could mean officers walking into traps, losing opportunities, or risking more lives. Secrecy, in her words, isn't incompetence, it's strategy. The pressure of time. York also spoke about the emotional weight that comes with a manhunt, recalling the 4 long months it took to catch Naden after he shot an officer in late 2011. She described those months as some of the longest of her life. Why? Because there was no timeline. They didn't know if the operation would last a week, a year, or another 7 years. Freeman's case carries the same unknown. Officers are putting in maximum effort now, but if the search stretches weeks or months, they'll be forced into long-term strategies, rotating teams, sleeping rough, maintaining morale, and keeping communities protected while preventing burnout. The police response to fallen officers. York emphasized another crucial insight. When a police officer is killed, the emotional impact on the force is uniquely intense. The deaths of Detective Neil Thompson and Senior Constable Vim Devaere aren't just statistics. They are colleagues, mentors, friends. For many officers on the ground, this isn't just a manhunt, it's personal. York said that in the Naden case, this sense of duty shaped the determination of the officers, and the same is happening now. They will not simply scale back because the search is difficult. They will search until Freeman is found, whether that takes days or months. What happens if Freeman isn't found soon? York was clear about this too. The hunt continues. If the short-term blitz doesn't work, police transition into medium and long-term patterns, same as they did with Naden. They adapt, rotate, expand, contract, and change tactics. They prepare for endurance, and eventually the bush begins to wear the fugitive down. York said that when they finally arrested Naden at 2 in the morning, he was exhausted, starving, and physically depleted. That vulnerability helped end the chase. If Freeman remains in the bush, time itself becomes the police's strongest ally. So while the Freeman and Naden cases aren't identical, they share one defining truth. A man who knows the bush can become a ghost. But no one can stay a ghost forever. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the parallels between 2 of Australia's most challenging manhunts. If you want more breakdowns like this, or updates as the Freeman case develops, make sure you subscribe to Behind the Crime Scene. And now, I want to hear from you. Which factor do you think matters most in a bushland manhunt? Terrain, strategy, or time?